Tareiq is joining. Yes, bro. How are
Yes,
you?
yeah. How you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good, man.
We'll give it a couple seconds just to let people join up. But
Yeah,
how's they been so far? Obviously.
not been too bad, you know. Went running with, I think you know him, Javen.
Yeah, yeah,
So, been doing some training with him today,
yeah. No, I've been
and that's
seeing
it.
he's been putting a lot of work in still. So props.
Yeah, man. He's good, bro. He grafts, man. He grafts. He's good. So he's good
Yeah,
to work with as well. He gets the best
definitely,
out of me sometimes.
absolutely. You need it. But yeah, bro. Cool, man. Let's get straight into this one. So
Cool. Let's
just
go.
give a brief introduction on who you are, who you currently play for, and maybe where you originate from, area-wise.
Yeah, I'm from Bromley originally, like southeast. Um, I was at Charlton Athletic as a kid. My name's Tareiq. I'm at Bristol Rovers right now. and and that's it really, you know. That's it.
Yeah. No, sweet. So yeah, bro, let's take it back to the beginning and kind of talk us through where football started for you and kind of how you first fell into love with it.
You know what? My dad played football. He played for like Bromley and played like conference football and that.
Okay.
So I always saw him playing football. My first ever club I went to was like my first Sunday league team was Sydenham Sports.
Okay.
Um, and there was quite a few players come through there. You know, Moses McCassie was at Sydenham Sports as well. Zach Ansar, Ellis Brown. There was a fair few players that was there that started playing football like properly.
Okay.
Josh Siafa. So yeah, no, it was a good Sunday league team and I loved it there. It was enjoyable for sure.
Love that. And yeah, so in terms of your step into that academy football, when did you first get your first trial?
I was seven
Okay.
when I
So
first
you was
went.
quite young.
Yeah, yeah, I was relatively young to be fair.
Okay, and do you remember how that process kind of went for you? And was it with Charlton?
Yeah, you know what? Originally I went to Chelsea,
Okay.
and then I went to Charlton as well. Um, I, I, I could have went to Chelsea. I could have signed there, but it was just too far from where I was for my mum and that. Charlton was around the corner. Obviously, Casey was there. Like he was a year younger than me. You know everyone that was at Charlton those times. Had a few friends that played for my age group. It just made more sense. Like it was
Yeah.
proper long going to Cobham, like all the time. Like for my mum with other kids and like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just easier to go to Charlton. And at the time they were both in the Premier League, so it didn't really make a difference to me. And I didn't really know what, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, bro. And yeah, in terms of Charlton, so when you first signed, kind of as much as you can remember, obviously, how was your first sort of couple years there up until maybe about 12, 13, 14?
If I want to be honest, it was good. Like it was good, but as a kid, like I was always a little bit more just laughing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't take it seriously. I
Yeah.
didn't take football too seriously at that age, and there was a few times where it probably could have went the other way. But I had a good, like, very good coach, like my academy director. He always like put me under his wing, like looked after me, um, put me on a straight and narrow. If I wasn't like behaving and that, he was proper stern, and it helped me. I needed that. So up until about 13, 14, I would say it was going well, but it was like in the balance.
Okay.
Then 14, when I just knuckled down and got my head like proper screwed on, that's when like things started going better. I was playing for the older age groups, playing for the under 16s as under 14. Got my scholarship at about 14. Then it just started progressing from there.
Okay. And what was that feeling like? Obviously, getting your scholarship relatively early compared to obviously some people who get it like as a 16.
You know what? Yeah, that it was good. But I always had like older players to look up to. You know what I mean? So you have like the Callum Harriot's, Jordan Cousins, like Joe Pigott. Like there was a lot of good players in the age group above, and so I saw some of them doing the same thing, and I always just wanted to get it early and have like less stress of, oh, like you're worrying about getting a scholarship and whatnot. So
Yeah.
that was definitely something I aspired to, and it worked out. It worked out nicely.
No, sick, bro. And yeah, maybe talk us through that feeling. Obviously, you've been at Charlton from 7 all the way up until 16, and obviously starting your scholar, that's another step in the right direction for your journey. So how was that feeling for you and the family at the time?
Yeah, it was just like it was kind of going into full-time football. It just felt like, wow, I'm actually leaving education, or you still do your education, but you're leaving it and playing football full time. Obviously, you know, you still got like a long journey. It's not like you're not there in it, but you've got your foot in the door kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was for my family. It was good, but everyone, like my family, just they'll make you stay like be humble, like your foot's fully on the ground, like you haven't got anywhere yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So it
no.
was never like, oh, like a massive thing. It's just well done, like keep on going. Do you know what I mean?
And obviously during the 2 years as a scholar, how did that process kind of go for you, and how was your time as obviously a scholar?
You know what? It was good. Like I played a lot of like out of position. I played a lot centre mid when I wanted to play left back, but I think it helped me a lot. It helped me like improve other areas of my game and like gave me attributes that I might not have had if I hadn't have done that.
Yeah,
How did I find like physically? I think I found it difficult physically at first, like training every day, like matches. But your body obviously adapts, and it got easier. Um, the second year we had a really good team. To be fair, we had some good players, so it was enjoyable, and we had a good bunch. Like it was
yeah.
an enjoyable time. To be fair.
No, sick, bro. And in terms of coming towards the end of your scholarship, how did you find out that you was obviously going to be offered a pro deal at Charlton?
You know what? I got it pretty relatively early as well. I got that as I turned 17. So that was
Okay.
like near the beginning of my scholarship. So when I got to about 18, that was when we finished playing our second year, like FA Youth Cup and all them days. Then you go into your actual first year pro. So
Yeah,
if you had a professional contract, it didn't mean that you was like a pro. You were still a scholar. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Just on a longer term deal. So
No, makes
it was
sense.
more when it started getting a bit more serious was when you step up from the scholarship, like schoolboy thing, to like first year pro, like when you're 18, 19, do you know what I
And
mean?
yeah, and back to that. So in terms of when you've now got the pro, and obviously I know that a lot of people, yes, you get your first pro and you're not fully secured in football, but again, that's
Yeah,
another big achievement.
yeah.
And sort of what was that like for you and your family again?
You know what? I feel like back then, if you got a pro, it was a little bit more. It was how do I put it? There wasn't like under 23s. It was more like
Yeah,
under
straight.
21s that just came in. Do you know what I mean? So them times, like I think it was literally that season when under 21s came in. So you thought, oh, I might get a chance with the first team, or I'll go on loan. It was a little bit more. There was less transition. It was more just straight.
Yeah, straight into it.
Do you know what I mean? And that was so it was good. It was definitely
And what was that sort of like? Because obviously 18s to first team, like we're saying, is a big jump in terms of tempo, physicality, stuff like that. How did you
yeah.
find that sort of side of the game when you now started training with the first team?
You know what? So I went on loan that season. And at first it's more like you might think you're ready for like the first team of your club. Like I was Charlton, we're in championship then, and you might think, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready. Like I feel good enough or whatever. But there's so many things that you probably wasn't ready for. Like
Yeah,
whether it be like your mindset, if you had a bad game, how you're gonna bounce back from that. Um, Physically, like it's a physical league. Do you know what I mean? You might have the technical ability to be able to handle it, but it's so much deeper like than just that. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
But training with the first team, I loved it. Like you'd always look at like the left back that was ahead of you and think, oh, what's he doing that I can work on? What can I learn from him? Um, how do I feel like I am in the group? Because you're with men every day. Like you're still like you're 18 or 17, 18, and it just makes it makes you grow up quicker. It
yeah,
makes
no.
you grow up quicker, and you learn fast.
And yeah, bro. So like you said, the first season that you obviously got your pro, you went on loan, and I think you went on loan to Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford was my first loan.
Yeah,
I
so
loved it there.
yeah, talk us through that, and obviously that experience of having you've been at Charlton your whole life, sort of in terms of your football career, and having to
Yeah,
move away and experience something new and be
bro,
by
I
yourself.
remember that. I remember that vividly. I swear. I was like chilling with my mum, and my agent was like, "Oh, like, I think you might be going on loan to Oxford," and I was like, "Nah," like just like that, like just like out of the blue. And I've never played a first team game before. Never been in like involved in a first team squad properly, like on a match day and that. So he was like, "Yeah, you're going." And this might have been like the beginning of the week, and I was like, "All right, cool." Before you know it, you're already on your way there. Pack your bags, um, gone to a hotel. And I was like, right, this is mad. Like, a bit nervous and that, thinking, I wonder if I'm gonna be good enough. Like, am I going to be strong enough? Is the guy's going to be cool? And then I went in, trained. I think my first training session was on like maybe a Wednesday, and then we had a game on a Saturday, and I started straight away. And then initially I went there on a 1 month loan, and after that they extended it. I just kept on playing, and yeah, like I really enjoyed my time there. Like the coach was wicked. I had Mac Wappert in there. The players were just top draw. I had a player called Danny Rose. Played with him when I was at Pompey as well. He just took me under his wing and just looked after me. And you realize like the football, like regardless of age, like as long as you've got the right mindset, you're all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what did it kind of do for your confidence? Because like you said, coming from Charlton and not really being involved in a match day with the first team, and then on a Wednesday training, and then Saturday, boom, you're thrown straight into the deep end. What was that sort of experience like? And was you
You know what?
nervous? Do you know what I mean? How was that for you?
No, I was definitely nervous, but like as a whole, like, in football, I'm relatively confident, you know.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like too like worried about performing, but I was nervous because it was the first thing. Like I've never done this. Like you want to you want to show everyone what you can do. You know, you're thinking, oh, like if I have a beast, if I have a bad game, then that might be my opportunity gone. So that's the thing. But I feel like when I am nervous, or if I feel a little bit of like apprehensive. Oh my God, wrong word.
I get you, bro.
Apprehensiveness.
Yeah.
That's where I perform better. To be fair, I feel like when I'm too laid back, I don't play as well as when I've got like a little bit of nerves.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough, bro. And so obviously that loan, how long did it last? Did it end up being a 6 month, or did you stay the full season at
So
Oxford?
so you remember back then you could go on loan for a month, you can go on loan for 3 months, like any time of the season. Obviously it's changed now, where you
Yeah.
can only go 6 months through the windows. I went there, I was there for 3 months, and then they signed another left back from the championship, and then I went on loan to Plymouth, and Plymouth were
Okay.
like further up the table, like they was like fighting for the playoffs, and I was there for 3 months, and that was literally one of the best 3 months of my life, of my career. Like proper, like loved it there. Had a
And
wicked team.
yeah, mate, talk us through that time, because Plymouth is in the deepest, darkest corner of England, bro. So
Bro, Plymouth, like that's
what
a
was that?
4.5 hour drive, 4.5 hour drive. But at first I was like, flipping hell, that's mad. But when you're young, you don't care. I had no responsibilities. I didn't have no kids, no house like that. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, let me just go and just see what it's like. At that point, there was a couple players there that I knew. Jason Banton, he
Yeah,
was there. Bobby Reed was there. I never knew of him, but we had mutual friends. Um,
I
and
think
then
Zach.
Zach Ansah came. He came about a couple weeks after me. And then another one of my mates, Cadell, he went on loan to Torquay. So we were all in the same area. And then we all just
Okay.
basically lived in the same house. And it was just fun. Like, as much as on the pitch, it was like proper. We had a really good team. We lost in the semi-finals of the playoffs that year. But like off the pitch as well, like it made it comfortable living so far away. Do you know what I mean? At that
Yeah.
age.
No, definite, bro. And again, good valuable experience going out on loan and living a different life than you was back here. Because obviously, we know that parents are at home with us and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
things are a little bit easier, even though they're small things like cooking, cleaning,
yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. We
No, 100%. It makes a big difference. Like when I went to Oxford, I, I've been used to living at home when I was at Charlton. When I went to Oxford, I went into digs, and it's like you go to a different family. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like it's cool. They're lovely people, but it's just like it's not home,
definitely
innit?
nothing beats
So
you cooking, man.
exactly. And then when I went to Plymouth, like there was no like adults there. We was just there, so I had to cook, clean, and all that stuff. And yeah, it definitely like opens your eyes to what real like buying fairy liquid and that. Like
Yeah,
you always think that's what your mum should be doing, isn't it? So when you get old and you have to do that, it's like, all right, now maybe I'm a little bit of an adult now.
yeah. And yeah, bro. So obviously that season you've obviously gone to Oxford and Plymouth, and then you
Yeah,
come back to Charlton. So in
yeah,
your mind, what's the thinking? Is it all right? I've got a couple games under my belt on the
yeah,
loan. So am I ready to maybe push for a starting place in Charlton, or was your
yeah.
next thinking maybe go and get some more experience again on loan?
No, I think at that time I thought I at least want to have a chance. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, no, I thought I had a good season, um, at least to get a chance to get into the team. Like I trained with them. Um, there was a lot of rotation of managers that period. so it was hard to like just stick to one manager. He can see you and progress you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I had there was Chris Powell originally, but he was gone by then. Then they started with there was like more of a foreign regime they brought in. So I wasn't in like the main plans then. What happened then? I was training. I was just in and around it. They told me to stick around. You're gonna get a chance, and I was in and around it for a while. Then I ended up making my debut. Done okay. Came out of the team for a while. Then I got back in, and a new manager came, and I was done well for a couple months. Then I had a bad game, and I got a red card, and then like my opportunity just went down. It went
Yeah.
down. Yeah, and then I went on loan. Went on loan to Oldham in League One. Had a good end to the season, and then what happened then? Then
Before we
another new manager.
Sorry, before we carry on, bro, I know you said that there was a lot of managers in a short period.
Yeah, yeah.
What does that kind of do? Because as a player, I know obviously I coach kids, and I can imagine if they had a different manager, like 4 managers in a season, what it could do to them. How did that sort of affect you and you on the pitch? Because obviously, like, go on, I'll let you.
If like there's a manager that's liked you and you're a young player, he sees you and he's like, oh, you know what, like you're gonna get a chance, and you've been waiting for 3 months for this chance, and you're thinking like you could have gone on loan and you could have just been like learning and adapting your game and getting used to men's football even more, maybe at a better league. So for a manager to go, and then a new manager comes in, and you might not be his type of player. He might have his own ideas, like, oh, I've got this player that I want to bring in anyway. So all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, we're gonna give you another chance, and it's like, all right, 6 months gone now, haven't played. How much? When you're at that age, you just want to play. Like you're impatient, and maybe that's a downfall. Maybe if I was more patient, things might have been different. But that's like in that day, all you want to do is like, I played last season. Like I want to just play, whether it's League Two, whether it's League One. But I happen to be at Charlton. It's Championship. I want to play. You know.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of panned out. But it's frustrating as a young player. If you've got that turnaround and new managers have new ideas, it's impossible to like just like be settled and like
No, absolutely.
expect that chance to come. Do you know what I mean?
And yeah, so back to the Oldham. So you went on loan to Oldham, and how was that experience for you again? Because it's another
See,
learning.
that was complete. Yeah, that was completely different because at Plymouth we was like trying to get promoted. At Oldham we was trying to fight relegation, and we was at the bottom. Like we was at the bottom, and I was like, oh my days, this is mad. But I was living in Manchester. That was okay. Like the club, like it was well run. Um, and yeah, it was just different. Like you really need every result. Like every game matters. Otherwise, you've got other players that are there and they've got families to feed. Like they really need, whether it's a contract or the money they're on in that league. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you see a different side to it.
And in terms of, like you said, you were with a team that was getting or fighting for promotion, and then you're with a team that is fighting relegation almost. So, what
Yeah.
was the key differences that you might have seen in that time between your two experiences?
Um, what were the differences? I would say it was the same manager. So
Oh, same manager.
yeah, different
Oh,
club but same manager. So it was kind of similar. It wasn't huge differences because he didn't want to put too much pressure on when we was fighting for promotion. He didn't want to put too much pressure on like you need to like you know what I mean. He wants you to just perform as comfortably as you can,
yeah.
and he kind of done the same there. But obviously you knew the pressure because you're not trying to get relegated. So
So
everyone knew what they had to do.
do you think it just comes down to that player confidence on the pitch at that obviously relevant time? Because the I know it's different clubs, but in terms of the standard of players, I'm sure that Oldham had good quality players as well. So is it just the fact performances and confidence on the field?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know what? It's also like the team morale, like how the team get on. Like you're on the pitch, sometimes nothing's just going right. Like nothing. You're just playing. And when you're going through a bad run of form, yeah, you might have a decent game as a team and just that one thing goes against you and all of a sudden you've lost. And rather than thinking, well, we're improving performances, it's just, oh, we've lost. How are we going to win again? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when you're playing, when you're winning in a winning team, sometimes like you'll be playing rubbish, like crap, but the thing goes for you. All of a sudden we win. Now we've got a little bit of confidence and everyone's just like upbeat, and it's mad. It's crazy, bro. Like body language, all of that stuff. All that stuff plays a big part.
Absolutely, bro. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. So talk us through it. So you come back to Charlton after that season, and I think that's the season that you eventually went to Huddersfield, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
In terms of that, was it you felt that it was just time because you haven't had the opportunities that you would have wanted at Charlton to move on, or was
Yeah, I feel like for me then, I was thinking I had played in League Two and League One, and I thought I had done well. Charlton had came down to League One, and I was in the squad, like I was on the bench and whatnot, and then they wouldn't. I was still on the bench, and I was like, I just want to play, to be honest. Like I just want to play. I felt like I could do like well in League One, and my opportunities were still a little bit limited. And if maybe I was more patient and stuck around, I might have got a better opportunity. You know what I mean? But at that time, like Huddersfield were like a good championship team. I feel like it just made sense. You know what I mean? To just try to test myself, see if I was up to that standard, improve as a player. And yeah, the opportunity came and I took it. You know what I mean?
no, definite, bro? And in terms of when you got to Huddersfield, what was that like in terms of the standard and all of that?
You know what? I'll be honest. At Huddersfield, for the first month, for the first 4 weeks, maybe even 6 to 8 weeks, I was like, "Oh my days, am I ready for this?" You know what I mean? I thought maybe I'm not good enough for this level. Like for the first 8 weeks, I thought, yeah, this is a step up. The standard, like Casey was there, he would know. Um, you have players like Aaron Moy, like Naki Wells, Phil Billen.
Yeah,
Like we had really good, like a talented team, and the standard of training every day, the intensity, it was a different ball game, and I felt myself improving like as time went on. But as I got more comfortable, like after 2 months, like I just felt like back to my normal self and how I would be at like any other club. But it took me a few months to adjust to the
yeah,
difference in
yeah.
intensity and quality for sure.
No, definite. So, yeah, you're at Huddersfield. And what was the thinking? Was it again kick on? Can I after these couple of months earn a place in the first team on a regular basis, or was
So
it go on, bro?
yeah, so at that period, I'd gone in and I was like the second choice. There's a good left back ahead of me. But I was getting like games, like whether it be every 4 games, every 5 games, might be out for a bit longer, come back in, FA Cup games. And when I did play, like I played well. The team was flying. When I went there, top of the league, like winning all the time. And so the camp was wicked. Like if you wasn't playing right at that moment, you actually couldn't complain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't because they were playing playing some unbelievable football that season. And what was I heading towards?
Probably talking about because I know you went on loan to Pompey, so talking about the whole.
Oh yeah, so we was that season. I was thinking I'm going to Huddersfield, and it's championship. They're a steady championship team. They haven't been like crazy high. They haven't been like they've been around the middle for the last few seasons. And I was like, yeah, like this is a really good step for me. I've got some good players. Like they brought some good players through, and I thought, yeah, like this is gonna be great. It was great, and then we ended up getting promoted. Like out of that, you think, oh, like the best season of my life, like in terms of the most enjoyable, like an experience that you could never imagine. But then obviously you go to the Premier League, with that comes money. So they spend quite a bit of money on like a whole new team. A lot of us got shipped out on loan. I went to Pompey then, and that's where I got injured.
Okay, so
So
obviously the injury at Pompey was it a serious injury that kept you out for a longer period, or
yeah, no, that kept me out for like 16 months, man. That was like a proper bad
okay?
injury. So
So
that just kind of changed the trajectory of my last few years. Do you know what I mean?
no, definite. And in terms of the injury, how did you sort of deal with it? Because I know that sitting out on the side, especially that obviously having Joe around me, and when he had his ACL
Yeah,
injury,
yeah.
knowing that like the stuff that he went through, maybe talk to us about how you kind of kept yourself sort of sane during that time because it's hard.
I got a few. There's actually a few like real big things that were important for me in that period. Like obviously I had people like Joe to chat to, spoke to him a lot about how it was for him going through it. But I was at that period initially, I was just thinking I was so driven that I'm going to be back sooner than what they've told me. I'm going to be back in 7, 8 months. So you're just doing everything. I was just playing, apart from when I was at the club and I was doing all my rehab, I'll go home, game ready, do all that stuff. Then I was just playing Fortnite. My partner was living with me at the time, so that helped massively. Like that definitely helped. Like having someone there. If I was up there on my own, it might have been much harder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So having her there helped me. And also like I had like at Huddersfield, there was a good bunch of people as well, so that helped. But there's times where it's just like, wow, when is this ever going to end, man? Like, when am I going to just get back to feeling how I feel? Do you know what I mean? How I should
Yeah.
feel, and that felt like it was just like a never-ending cycle. But eventually, like things started looking a bit better, and then yeah, left Huddersfield after that. After that injury, I left the following summer.
Okay. And when you left, was it more because you've been out for so long and
Scans, my bro.
yeah, you've been out for so long and you haven't kind of been able to establish yourself in the team, so you kind of want to go out and get some real football at a level that you know you can play at?
Yeah, no, but that was literally the aim for me was just get back, go and play, whether it be League One, League Two, just play football, just play, and have faith in my ability that that I'll end up getting back to where I belong. Do you know what I mean? As long as I worked hard. Obviously, the injury wasn't 100% healed when I got to Bristol Rovers,
Okay.
so I didn't go straight in, and I had another operation, and things just took slower and slower. You know what I mean? Took longer than I imagined. Then I ended up the second half of that season. I got fit, played, done well, and then my knee was just playing up again. So I had one more operation in the summer. That would have been the third one, and then after that, after that, um, after that, I just like carried on working to get back fit. This season, still like had a few complications, but now like I'd say I'm basically there now.
Yeah, bro. And talk in terms of young players that might go through a certain injury and stuff like that. What would your
Yeah.
advice be during that time of the injury, and what kind of positive stuff can they look forward to or keep in their mind? I know obviously the target is always to get back playing, but
I'll
anything that kind of kept you going.
I'll be honest. Like you gotta approach it. Like you gotta have two mindsets to it. You gotta be fully driven on getting yourself back fit and doing the right things like consistently. Whether it's eating the right things, doing the stuff that you might do your stuff at football in the morning, but then when you get home, you got to do all the stuff, whether it be icing, whether it be on the complex, stretching, doing all just everything. You got to just live correct. Then aside from that, one thing I probably wish I had done was, don't get me wrong, because you're so driven, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be back, it's a minor. At the same time, you got to have an eye on the future, because what if you don't get back? What if your injury doesn't heal the way you hope it's going to heal? You need to have an eye on the future, whether you go and learn something, whether you go and do a college course, university, like anything, online courses, just add some sort of knowledge to your brain that you wouldn't have had because you've got so much time when you're injured to do that. Like when I was injured, watching football, I wasn't watching football. I didn't want to know, do you know what I mean? I was just doing my own thing, thinking, let me just get back fit. And when the time's right, I'll be ready. But
No,
every, every,
go on, bro.
yeah,
No, that's a
everyone
sick.
has that. It's true, bro. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things, innit? Everyone has their own way of dealing with things. But for me, I think you gotta have two outlooks. You got to attack it like 100%, but at the same time, just be prepared. Like worst case scenario, like worst case, if this doesn't work, what am I gonna fall back on?
Yeah, no, that's big because it's always important to have a plan B, even though obviously we all want plan A to work out. But
Yeah,
plan B is very important. But yeah, bro.
for
So
sure.
obviously at Bristol, like you said, you had a couple more step backs, but how's your time been at the club and how are you enjoying your football again now? Obviously being back on the pitch in a position where you can play a bit more regularly.
Yeah, you just appreciate it again, man. You appreciate the little things, just training every day, like training without pain, and that's the kind of stuff that you appreciate, and just being able to improve again, step up, and you can see like you can look back at where you've come. Do you know what I mean? You can see how you couldn't before. You might have been uncomfortable doing certain movements. Then it's like, oh, like, wow, I'm here. I've made a lot of progress, and now that's what I'm looking to do. Just carry on like where I left off before. Hopefully, I can get back to that.
No, absolutely, bro. And in terms of the future for you, so maybe next season on a shorter term goal, but when football's all said and done, and you retire, what do you want people to say about yourself?
Um, from all of this, from all the injuries, just like that, you just never quit, man. Like, because I feel like work rate and all of that stuff, like, it can't be questioned. You know what you're capable of. I just want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say I've done everything that I possibly could, regardless of the setbacks and that. You still made like the most of yourself. Do you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's me to me. Other people, if I could like inspire anyone just to keep on working hard, even when you think like there's been times where I've like thought, nah, like this is mad. I'm never gonna get back. Do you know what I mean? So when you're there, don't be done. Like keep on going. Do you know what I mean? And if anyone could like just take that from me, I'll be happy. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, bro. That's sick. And yeah, in terms of any younger players, maybe academy boys or boys that are looking to get from grassroots to academy football, what would your sort of message be for them in terms of not giving up and stuff like that?
Um, just regardless of if people is watching you or not, just be putting in the hard work. Like put in the work, and when the opportunity comes, like you'll be ready in it. Like just work hard. Like that's it. And you can tell yourself that you worked hard. You don't need anyone else to tell you you've done enough. Do you know what I mean? You and yourself know whether you've been working hard or not. So as soon as the
Yeah.
opportunity comes, you're ready in it. You're not taken by surprise. You haven't been waiting all this time to get the opportunity. It's come and like you wasn't ready. Do you know what I'm saying? And also enjoy it.
No, that's it.
Just enjoy it, bro. Like for me, when you're that age, that young, like I seen people like Ademola Lookman. He came to academy at 16 years of age, bro, and he had never played an academy football ever. And he came in and was just the best, like insane, and it just looked like he was just playing freely. Do you know what I mean? So that for me is definitely it could be in your advantage if you haven't been in an academy since you was young. You got all that
Yeah.
like just raw talent and stuff, you know.
No, absolutely. And yeah, in terms of growing up, who were the sort of people that you looked up to on and off the pitch? So your idols.
Um, on the pitch, I think Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole definitely looked up to him. Like tried to base my game around him really. Um, off
And
the
wait, T,
pitch,
just to ask you this, in terms of when
yeah,
you
go
was
on.
younger, was you
Yeah,
always wanting to be a left back, or was it a thing of
nah, nah. Bro, I wanted to be. I used to love Steven Gerrard. I used to love back in like R9, my
yeah,
original idol, bro. Like that was the guy that made me love football. I was a left winger, but you know, the left wingers ain't good enough. Go to left back, innit? So,
yeah.
so I got pushed back, and then I just ended up really enjoying left back because you can, the way the game's progressing, you can just play as a winger, and you can dictate play from deep if you want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was never stressed about that. To be fair, I was never too stressed about getting pushed back to left back.
So yeah, you said Ashley Cole, and maybe off the pitch, was there anyone that you kind of got inspiration off?
Obviously, my dad played football, so that like was an sort of an inspiration in itself. But also like my grandpops, like my parents, all my family that have just put in years of hard work to take me training. Like obviously, when you're young, you think it's normal, innit? But when you look back on it and you see the other kids that didn't have that, that probably might have been better than you or just as good as you, and they didn't get there because you have like that support system around you. Like, and I've only the last few years when you're old enough to realize how much of a difference it really makes. I think that is something I'm very appreciative of.
Yeah, and bro, last question from me. In terms of obviously COVID and stuff like that, I know you haven't been able to train as normal, but
Yeah.
what sort of things have you been kind of doing to just keep yourself active? Obviously.
I've been doing a lot of cycling. So the cycling is just the cycling just keeps my head clear, you know. Like it's not like sometimes running putting a lot of pressure on your joints and whatnot. So I've done a lot of cycling. Then you know Javen, so Javen's giving me a program. I've stuck to that. I've been doing a lot of work with him. That's my cousin in the comment. Love cuz. Yeah, so yeah, I've been doing that, man. I've been doing a bit of read. Or I don't love reading, so I've been listening to audiobooks. Trying to gain a bit of knowledge, learning a few different other things. But yeah, also just only so much you can keep active. You know, sometimes you just need to just have some downtime and appreciate it a little bit.
Absolutely, especially when you're in like a sport as football is so demanding. When you're on season, it's full time, it's every day. So
No,
obviously the
exactly.
time's also good.
Exactly. So yeah, you're never gonna get this time back in your life, man. Like
Yeah,
if you can just sometimes obviously everyone wants to improve and do this, do that. But sometimes like life is coming at you fast, isn't it? Sometimes just relax and just enjoy the time to settle down a bit.
no, definitely, bro. But man, Tareiq, thank you so much, man, for jumping on and obviously telling your story and your
Nah, thanks for
journey
having
so
me, man.
far.
Appreciate it. Keep on doing
Obviously,
your thing.
yeah, bro. Like, just keep progressing, keep getting back to obviously where you want to be fitness wise and on the pitch. But, bro, thank you so much. To
No
everyone
worries,
that's
man.
jumped on and listened, thank you.